Hey everyone, welcome to Hope for Survival. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been about 2 weeks. And honestly, I've kind of held off on doing another YouTube video because there's so many crazy topics that are going on, and there's so many different areas to hit between natural disasters and fires and discussion of fuel shortages from the war itself, socioeconomic issues. If you got a retirement account in the stock market, you're taking a beating the last couple weeks. And it goes on and on and on. But one topic that has really stood out, that's probably one of the most important topics of everything that we're hearing about, is in the preparedness realm, and that is food. And there's lots of rumblings going on right now regarding if the war ended right now, the damage it's already done in the shipping world, that we would basically be at levels that we endured during the big, from 2020 to 2024, and everyone fighting over toilet paper and so on and so forth. But the war didn't end today, and it's going to continue going on for the unforeseeable future. So there's more damage that's going to take place, and this doesn't just pertain to food being available. It's going to be in the production. A lot of farmers are having to decide if they're going to grow food or not because they can't get fertilizers. And this is not just a national issue, this is a global issue that's being talked about. Several voices that I highly respect, David Devine and Michael Yon, they've been talking about this for a while now, for at least the last month, but Michael Yon's been talking about it for some time now, the upcoming famine that's going to take place. And when you really think about, we don't just have shortages. Right now we're eating growth production from 2025, which means for those that can't grow right now in 2026, this would be food that would be consumed in 2027. And I want you to think about something. Do you know at the end of World War II, roughly 50% of Americans farmed in their backyard? 50%. Now, think about how much the population has increased since the end of World War II. And currently, right now, less than 1% of the American populace grow anything, which says that most of our food consumption is from resources that are shipped in. And if the resources can't get grown because of fertilizer, and even when they are grown, now we got shipping issues for lack of fuel, cost of fuel, available trucks to move it once it's shipped in. And this goes on and on and on. And now there's some who are talking about the possibility of another lockdown due to energy shortage. We'll see. We know we can debate all night long as to the whole circumstance of, was it planned, and on and on and on. You see, because us peons of the world we're sucking up the air and water and consuming the food that should go to the elites, and we should be eating this wannabe fake meat and all these other things. So I wanted to talk to you about food preparedness and the most important part of why you should be preparing food. So let's get into it. So when we talk about preparedness, we often talk about food, water, shelter, security being your cornerstones, then communications and medicinal and some other areas. But I really wanted to talk about food preparedness. It is within the preparedness community. It's a topic that is back at the forefront once again for folks who are not trying to do podcasts to scare your socks off of you. Um, but two of my favorite podcasters, David Devine and Michael Yon, have been talking about this issue for some time now, and especially since the conflict in Iran has kicked off roughly a month ago, a little over a month ago. And what no one's talking about is we already had food issues and food shortages globally, and the nasty word famine um, has been there. It's just folks have ignored it at the high level, and it's something that's important. But now with the war and with the Strait of Hormuz closed, uh, there's a lot of key ingredients that go globally out of the strait. Everything from plastics that's made in automobiles to automobile parts and medical machines and tools. But one of the things that's critical globally, and that is fertilizer. And many of the farmers in the Pacific and even here at home and other parts of the world as well, um, they are talking about how they need to make a decision. We're about 20 days into the 30-day window they talked about as to would they even plant to grow for this season because they don't have the fertilizer needed for their crops and soil, and also the rumbling of fuel shortages coming. So, and even discussions of a possible lockdown like we endured back during the Big C in 2020 to 2024. So it's too much for them to invest out of pocket money up front with the possibility of no return on the back end. So where does that leave us as a populace? Well, like I said, we already had food issues globally. Uh, Discussions of starvation in certain parts of the world, and natural disasters that have occurred on top of that, massive flooding that's taking place out in the Pacific right now, and we have fires, and we already had issues over the last 5 to 10 years with chicken houses burning down and the slaughtering of beef and slaughtering of pigs, and the problems just continue to mount. So when you consider that at the end of World War II, roughly 50% of Americans had some degree of a farm or garden in their backyard, and today, when you consider how much our population has grown since World War II, and less than 1% of Americans today grow any type of food, um, which not only means that they probably can't grow food, they won't make the effort to grow food, they're also consuming unhealthy foods being peddled to us. Now, this all goes in really, really well for the elite who see us as the consuming peons who are breathing into their air and drinking their water and eating their food. So how do we um, how do we go forth in preparing for um, potential issues that could be looming soon on the horizon? I think it's important. One of the first things that we need to talk about is why why are we preparing food? Um, what what is driving us to the point that we feel like we need to buy extra food and put it back? And I can tell you all the reasons, but you've got to tell yourself the reasons, and you've got to adapt the mindset. And the mindset and planning your food plan is the most critical part of your food preparedness because honestly, if you don't plan for how you're going to do it, it really doesn't matter. I mean, you can go to the store and spend $500 and get 5 cans of Campbell soup, but you can't self sustain on 5 cans of Campbell soup. So these are things you've got to decide for you and your family. And these are things that you've got to decide. So um, let's talk about levels of food preparedness. Circumstances should determine the degree and level of food preparedness. A, having a food plan and the proper mindset is the most critical aspect. I know lots of folks who have lots of food and they've had it for several years. It's put back. Many of the elite have bunkers and they have put lots and lots of dehydrated foods back. And that's all fine and dandy for them or for anyone. But you've got to have more to your food plan than dehydrated food. It's that simple. It's great. It'll sustain you. It doesn't taste bad, but you've got to have a way to add some nutrition in there. So how I like to look at it is the who, what, where, when, why. Okay, who? How many are you planning for? Do you have children? Do you have elderly? Um, and based on how many you have, how many calories do you project for each person per day? Do you have anyone that has special diets that you need to also plan for? What types of food resources are you talking about when you build your food plan? Okay, and I'll cover that. Where? How do you plan to store the food? When? How long are you planning for? Why? What is driving you to take these steps, and have you developed a new mindset to a changing way of life? If you haven't figured it out yet as a preparer, it is a mindset and it is a change in how you live your life. So we can build food plans based around natural, man-made, and technological hazards. Okay, this could be Mother Nature driving a storm, a man-made terrorist attack, or something uh, as severe as a cyber type attack onto systems for trucking and food production and transportation and power and on and on and on. What's your financial position? How much can you afford to put into this, especially if you're just now starting out? The ability to obtain food, short and long term. The ability to store and maintain food stock. Available space to grow your food. External threats and internal threats to your food inventory. This could be external threats, as in people that live around you, people who are transiting your neighborhood looking for food. It could be animals, it could be mice. These are things you got to think about. And as I said, special diets and needs of family members. So, stage one is your initial disaster event, cutting off your access to normality. Always remember, what is the threat to you? How long did you wait to begin preparing? How are you vulnerable to the threat? How do you mitigate the threat? Is there a short and long term fix? Short term notice versus advanced notice to threat or change in normality in your life. Are the 18 wheelers still running? Why is the 18 wheelers important? Because in America, we use the just in time supply system in fuel, pharmaceuticals, and food. These locations are stocked for 72 hours or 3 days. Okay. And you know how it is when they announce there's a storm coming, everyone flocks to the store, and that 3 day supply is now down to about a day and a half. So keep that in mind. Immediate preparedness. Why would a person who's trying to be prepared and not be a part of the average populace prepare for 3 days? Like the other 95% of society. It's insane. Insanity. As a preparer, the thing is part of all this preparing and setting yourself up is that you want to separate yourself from society. You want to be with your family or your community if you've built a community team, wherever you may be, but you want to stay out of the stores and away from those who are losing their minds over toilet paper. Just be smart. And if you do go to the store and stock up a buggy during one of these events, be mindful that someone could see you and follow you to the parking lot and follow you to your house. Recommend your initial short term food stock be at least 30, 60, 90-day supply to reach a 6 month supply. This can be a variation of food supplies. Recommend either home stock if you are not mobile between work and home. If you do work, you should keep at least 3 days of food stock in a go bag or some call it a bug out bag. Eating versus survival. You're planning in advance to eat healthy and stock nutritional foods and vitamins could be the difference between life and death. Past studies by the federal government and other agencies state 90% of the populace will die in the first 12 months of an EMP pandemic or total collapse. Diseases and starvation are two of the major causes of death. Point being, you must eat nutritional foods throughout the emergency period. Don't become a statistic. Prepare. How much food is needed? Wow, that's the $1,000,000 question, isn't it? How much food should I buy? When you are planning for yourself or a family or of multiple members, how do you know how much and what type food you will need? We know a single person requires approximately 1,055 gallons of water per year. A household of two requires 188 rolls of toilet paper per year. Not important? Follow up with this topic and look in Venezuela and the people that walked across their national borders to buy toilet paper. Food. See next slides, which offer several links to food calculators offering types and quantities needed. Plan for roughly 2,000 calories per day for females and roughly 2,500 to 3,000 calories per day for males. Children would be less. Your activity level could dictate less or more. To build your food plan, consider using savethefood.com, where there's a food calculator, or thefoodguys.com food calc. And that's more of a, you fill out like a form and calculate your numbers. But they're both effective. Here's nutritional requirements. This is really important. You will not obtain this eating dehydrated food. Okay? So, this is why I said earlier it's important when you're building a food plan that you use a compilation of different types of foods. Okay? So, levels of preparedness. Short term preparedness is your 30-day to 1 year preparedness. What do you and your family need to survive without external support? The 30-day food supply can be any assortment of your choosing. Consider including some dehydrated meals or foods with high protein and calories. In the event you must go mobile away from your primary food stock, you should also consider the nature of the threat, such as loss of power, fire, ice, and floods. Will you lose the food in your freezer if the electricity remains out for 10 days? What is your plan? Do you have other options available for heating food if required? Propane, gas, fireplace, solar. Can you protect the food supplies you have stocked during your preparedness? See, I talk about plans all the time, and there's so many different plans that are tied together, linked together. Okay, they're not. None of the plans are cut and dry. Mid-level preparedness is 1 to 3 years. This degree of preparedness is more intense and requires more time and funding to achieve a total of 36-month preparedness. Storage space becomes an issue as your stock builds. You must also consider maintaining your stock supplies at multiple locations in the event you are robbed or you suffer a disaster at your home. When you're in a 1 to 3 year storage, 1 year to 3 year stage of preparedness, you should consider the fact you may have to relocate from your main bug-in location. If so, can you physically move your supplies? Remember, nutritional value becomes critical at this juncture. Long-term preparedness, 3 years and beyond. This stage of preparedness is normally not a good sign. Most likely, some form of major disaster or devastation has taken place in the nation. This could be as vast as an EMP or a tragedy where your life has changed and you've lost everything. Hopefully, you will recover faster than the 36 months. If possible, raising a garden and farm animals would be wise. And if you can't, hopefully you live in a community and have a community team that you've worked together in your 5 mile radius that you might be able to share labor and skills for some vegetables and meat. Food storage options. Canned food from the store is typically good for 8 to 30 months. Canned meats that you can buy from the store, 5 to 15 years. Okay, this is a different kind of meat. You don't get this at your local grocery store in most cases. Dry food in buckets, 20 to 25 years in most cases. Some are only 10 to 15 years. Home canning, a variance of opinion, but most say up to 5 years. I can tell you from our own experience, we have home canned vegetables and meats that are 10 to 12 years, and they're still healthy and taste great. Dehydrated meals varies from 10 to 25 years based on type and manufacturer. My favorite is the Mountain House spaghetti and meat sauce. Freeze dried, it varies. But at least with freeze dried, you know what you get, especially if you're using a home freeze dryer. Growing a garden, seasonal and terrain impact. Where do you live at? Okay, Florida versus Montana. Another problem with growing a garden is folks, everything that I see, folks are not out trying to grow stuff now to see if their soil will even grow vegetables. And they're waiting until the moment they have to do it, and it's going to bite them in the behind. Hunting game if available. It is best to try the food before they are needed to ensure you like the food and if your body tolerates the food. A lot of these meals are loaded in sodium, although over the last few years, a lot of them have really cut back on the sodium. I personally take blood pressure medicine and I have to be cautious of sodium levels. But I haven't ran into any major problems. Note, learn to conduct your own test on each type of food to determine if the product is eatable at the time of need. Food choices. Purchase canned foods with the latest expiration date. The date is the sell-by date for stores. Okay, they can be consumed after the expiration date if the can is not swollen or damaged or showing signs of rust. That's a foot stomper. Turn somersaults, clap your hands, and quack like a duck. Okay, I've heard so many stories of folks who they hit that date on the can and they throw it away. And it's such a waste. Okay, consider identifying local stores offering case lot sales. Okay. Dehydrated single pack foods offer great short and long term options. Just add hot water as the needed ingredient. Offers great options for mobility. I keep some packed in a bag in my truck. lighter, less expensive compared to MREs, non-dehydrated, available online in many sports stores. I personally like the bagged individual meals, and we consume them here in our home. Um, I probably have one at least one time a month to make sure my body tolerates it. Food choices: canning food through the pressure canning process requires extended heat source, preparation, and cooking time. It's consuming, offers a wide variety of choices in vegetables, fruit, meat, poultry, extends the life of garden products. If you don't have a garden, or if it's more cost effective, you can find really good deals on frozen vegetables that you can bring and you can run them in a dehydrator. Okay. I know some folks who are into preparedness who have put away a lot of food going that route. More nutritional than dehydrated and store bought canned foods. Food choices: dried food, long term storage offers many options and choices: beans, rice, pasta, wheat, sugar, flour. There's a little more detail in this if you want to take the steps to go this route and use mylar bags and store in the 3 or 5 gallon canisters. But it offers you many options and choices and for long term storage. I use this one as well. The food dehydrator and the freeze dried food requires equipment and time. The freeze dryer is expensive. Requires the least amount of storage space of all options, and it's light. Long term availability, less weight and space when carried in a bug out bag. Here's some excellent websites for food preps. You can see at the top of the list here our friends Miss Jan and Mr. Bill down at Carolina Readiness Supply. Give them a call. They are super awesome people, and they have a super awesome stock store. And they have classes on their website you can go watch on how to put food back. Mr. Bill is a master of it, so go check them out. Okay. Um, Here's some recommended books I would recommend to you for your library. This is probably 6 or 7 of probably 50 that I have. But these are some good ones: The Cabin Full of Food, No Grid Survival Project, Seed to Seed, The Lost Superfoods, Mini Farming, The Prepper's Blueprint. I recommend to everyone who's just getting into preparing, by Tess Pennington. This is an outstanding book. Um, and my book, Hope for Survival: How Food, Water, Shelter, Security Could Save Your Life. I cover food and everything in it, and you can get it on our website, or you can call Miss Jan or Mr. Bill down at Carolina Ready Supply in Waynesville, North Carolina. They have it stocked there. I just dropped off a new supply last week, and they have them there for uh, your purchase. So this is kind of it in a nutshell. There's a lot more steps to it, but this will give you an idea of the framework and the mindset that you need. Think about it. We have to have insurances for about every aspect of life: homeowner, automobile, life insurance, health insurance. But everyone ignores the most important insurance that we have to live, and that is food insurance. The insurance that we have food available to feed ourselves and our family and our community. So give that some thought. All right. So that gives you a good understanding of uh, if you're just getting started. One thing I can tell you is if you are into preparedness and you prepare food, of course, it is evergreen. It's a non-ending cycle of preparing and also of learning. You can never learn enough in this area. Okay, as in most areas of preparedness, it's always um, learning something. Okay, and I mentioned some books to you that was on this listed on the slides, but here is A Cabin Full of Food. By the way, I do believe that Carolina Readiness Supply has these stocked. This is the no grid projects to help you, survival projects. This is the Seed to Seed, another outstanding book. And many of these books I've mentioned on the website in the past. Lost Superfoods, another great book. Mini Farming Self-Sufficiency on a Fourth of an Acre. Tess Pennington's The Prepper's Blueprint. This thing is a manual, but I recommend that anyone that does preparedness have this book. And then my book, Hope for Survival, How Food, Water, Shelter, Security Could Save Your Life. And of course, while you're at Carolina Readiness, you can actually call them and they may be able to ship these items to you. But give them a call. Okay, visit their website. And there's a lot of other places that I listed on there as well that you can order online. But the nice thing about Carolina Readiness Supply is that you're not only shopping, but you're learning from two awesome preppers who own and run the store. So I hope this has helped you out in some way. And like I always tell folks, more and more we started talking about the 5-mile radius 7 years ago. And I will continue to talk about the 5-mile radius because more and more people are talking about it's going to come down to community. It's going to come down to what you have, the skills you have, how well that you and your community have prepared. I even heard a podcast earlier this morning where a former Green Beret was talking about something as simple as a neighborhood watch. They were talking about defending your community against the possibility of terrorists expanding out into communities. Knock yourself out. Go have fun with it. Don't be stressed over it. It is what we make of it. We can't allow things to unground us. We have to keep our eye on the ball. Head on a swivel. Stay focused. We got to be very hopeful and faithful going forward because as of right now, the indicators are not good. However, I will tell you is that when you prepare, it does lessen the stress load. And the more that you prepare and put back, the better you feel about your situation. So be blessed. Don't forget to give thanks. If you like this video, please hit like, leave comments below. You can email me at preparedness101@protonmail.com. Visit the website. Our April newsletter goes out at midnight tonight. And we just finished the annual donation drive in March, which would be ending today. And thanks to everyone who reached out and supported that effort to keep us operational. We're truly blessed. So till next time, stay safe. Bravo Echo out. Thank you for checking out the Hope for Survival YouTube channel. If you are new to Hope for Survival, you can check out our books at our webpage. Book 1, which is Hope for Survival, Getting You Prepared for Disasters, and Book 2, Hope for Survival, The Mindset, are both available for order on the website. We also offer the Hope for Survival football stick, which is a memory stick set up as a digital filing cabinet with files already loaded on there for you to digitally copy items such as deeds, auto transcript for ownership, wills, living wills, loans, banking information, items that if your home burned down or you had some form of a disaster, you could have all your important papers already digitally filed on this stick. All you do is simply drag the digital file into the appropriate preset folder so that you'll have it in the event of a disaster. You have to flee your home in a hurry, or also if you're away from home and you need critical information that's personal. If you have your memory stick with you, you can put it in your computer and pull that information up wherever you may be. Again, you can find these items to order at our website, https www.hopeforsurvival.com, or you can email me at preparedness101@protonmail.com, and I will try to help you out. Again, thanks for checking out the Hope for Survival YouTube channel. Hope to see you again.